Coming to you live from San Antonio, Texas. This is a Drinking Buddies podcast. I'm Quentin.
And I'm Alex.
And welcome to our show.
On this podcast, you're going to hear about all things sports. Specifically, we're going to talk about basketball. We're going to talk about football. We'll talk about baseball and
the philosophy of the game. Welcome to another edition of Drinking Buddies podcast. My name is Quentin.
And I'm Alex.
And welcome to our show. On this show, we're going to talk about the Olympics, starting with Team USA and how they've been performing. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Victor Wembanyama and the French national team. So this episode is called The Olympvics.
The Olympvics, episode 5. All right, so Team USA, they look pretty formidable. It's a very stacked team. Quentin, why don't you kind of take us through your thoughts on the few practice games that they've had, the exhibitions and what we've seen so far. Tell me what your thoughts are.
Yeah, they kind of looked like they came out of the gates a little bit slow, but started to pick it up. I'm referring to the Canada game.
Absolutely.
Where, it was back and forth. Canada actually looked to have the upper hand at the beginning of the game, but then Team USA turned it around and did what Team USA usually does. And I think that's more of a chemistry issue initially. They only had like 4 days to practice with each other, so I don't think that that's going to be too detrimental to their gold medal aspirations.
Yeah, I mean, they still painted Canada's their back porch red anyway, so they're used to getting horsewhipped by us anyways.
Yeah, and the Canadian team is solid though.
They are.
They're
Shea
very
Gilgeous-Alexander.
Even, I hate to say it, Dylan Brooks balled out.
I still can't stand that dude. He's all mouth.
Yeah.
And the other thing I hate about him, what do you say about Vic? I mean, this is how much of a D-bag he is. He's really tall.
That's
about it. Come on, dude. You're better than that.
That's just jealousy right there.
It's peanut butter and jelly right there. Come on now.
Peanut butter and jelly, exactly. Yeah. So, Canada has some really good ball players. RJ Barrett. They just look to be outmatched by this Team USA team, which is pretty stacked.
Yeah, well, the cream rises to the top, right? They have players that showed up. And, of course, one player that showed out was Kwitter. I mean, that's ridiculous. Derek White, good on you. Yes, he needed to be in there. He had a great showing in the finals. I think he earned that spot. Now, there has been a lot of talk about Brown not getting selected for that spot, right, especially because of the money he makes.
Do you think Jaylen Brown got snubbed?
I do to an extent, but I still think Derek White deserved that opportunity. He did. I agree. He made some outstanding plays in the finals. I mean, if he doesn't make some of those plays, who knows what happens with Dallas? Maybe they're able to turn the narrative in that game, in that series.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's all right.
He's also a really smart basketball player. Like, he just knows how to play the game. I think that's his biggest strength.
He does. Look, you can't go wrong with one. It's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. They're both good players.
Right. I just think they probably wanted a little bit more guard depth at the sort of the primary ball handler position. Yes. Whereas Jaylen Brown's more of a shooting guard, small forward type of player. Yeah. Okay, now talk about how this team stacks up against previous teams.
Oh, no. 92 is still the best in my lifetime and in most folks' lifetime. 92 is the best it ever was and ever will be. Sorry. That team, Magic, Stockton,
David Robinson, Jordan in his prime.
Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley. No. There will never be a team that touches the 92 team. Ever.
Yeah.
Never, ever.
I absolutely agree with that. I don't think that any team will ever come close to that. That's the greatest basketball team ever assembled.
I mean, I love the Timmy team in 2000. They had a lot of great players, but they stunk. They wound up getting beat.
Yeah,
by
Argentina.
Argentina.
No, that was in 2004.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But that was also a Timmy-led team.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that the quality, there's a lot of great players, but the fundamentally sound guys that play with that synergy, to me, 92 will never be touched.
I agree. And when it comes to like the Redeem team, right? The Kobe-led, LeBron-led Redeem team.
Yeah.
I thought that's when USA Basketball really started picking up more steam again.
Yeah.
Because you're right, a while, for like 8 years or so, there was a lot of struggle. But I think this team is a pretty solid team comparatively. I think
Absolutely.
Maybe they're not as good as the Redeem team, but they are up there.
They're not as good as Redeem Team, but here's the thing. You look at the assorted teams that we've had over the years, the assorted players, there's been a lot of great talent. I mean, if you can think about for a second, has there really been a great lull in the NBA? I don't think so. But over the years, once the NBA went professional, because the rest of the country, the rest of the world rather, caught up with the U.S. and that's why they had to send out pros. But see, now what you're seeing is you're seeing guys that are catching up to the rest of the league. I mean, look, your number ones the last 2 years are both foreign players, so they're catching up.
Well, yeah,
to the rest,
last
to the
three
NBA.
MVPs,
they're catching up to the U.S.
The last three MVPs have been international. You've
Absolutely.
had Joker, Embiid, and Giannis.
Yeah.
I mean, the world is here already. The world has made its presence felt in the NBA for sure.
Absolutely.
So, asking you this, where do you think the U.S. is going to medal?
I think they're going to silver. And maybe I'm being a homer, and all of you at home, go ahead and say it. Yes, he's all over Vic's jock. I get it, right? That's why we called this the Olympvics, because of Victor Wembanyama, right? I think France has so much. Dude, they have so much. And they play with a synergy. They don't play with ego. Vic is just destroying people, dude.
Oh my God, it is
Even
so
in
exciting
practice,
to see.
man. He went up with one side, came around and blocked with the other, and the shot wasn't all the way up.
Right.
You should have seen people on X saying, "Well, no, that would have been goaltending." No, it wasn't. It wasn't even on the way down yet. It wasn't even its apex, and he smacked that thing down.
Right.
Vic is a beast. Gobert's going to get some of that pressure taken off of him because of the youthful exuberance that Wemby carries. They have a ton of pieces, and these guys have been working together. Team USA is just kind of getting put together. Those guys don't play together every day. This team's played together for a little bit. They've had some off seasons where they've worked out. I think they're the biggest threat. If Team USA finishes gold, I'll apologize, but it's my prediction right now, and I think I'm 2 for 2 on predictions with these podcasts. I'll take Team USA to be second. I think France is going to go number one quick.
Wow, that's quite a take there. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. I do think Team USA is going to gold medal, but I can see a world in which Victor Wembanyama, at 20 years old, takes this France team to the next level.
Yeah.
I can see that for sure. So that's actually a great segue into our next segment. Merci Wemby.
Merci, Wemby.
Merci. So you already kind of touched upon some of the questions I had regarding France and their odds of medaling. You think they're going to gold medal?
I do. I think that they're doing it for love of country more than anything.
That's definitely what you saw when Manu was when he gold medaled with Argentina. You definitely saw that passion. I see that in this French team.
I do too. And several of these guys are Tony Parker disciples, for lack of a better term. And
definitely
I
influenced
think
by
love
Tony
of
Parker.
country. I think the fact that the USA has a bullseye on a bullseye target on their back. France is going to be gunning for them, man, because they want to show that they've arrived, that they're the next big country that's arrived.
Right.
So that's why I feel that way.
And they're not going to be scary just now. They're going to be scary
going
4 years from now.
Wait till Vic's in his prime.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He might go Wilt Chamberlain on the ass.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
2028 and 2032, I'm not so comfortable thinking that the U.S. is going to gold medal in those years. I think France very well could take both of those years.
Undoubtedly, that's possible. These guys, I mean, think about it. How many of these guys were lottery picks, first-round picks, that are on the French team? The other thing that's scary, man, is just the fact that Wemby takes so much defensive pressure off of Gobert That's like the Stifle Towers, man. That's scary good. That's why, like, when we talked about the Spurs and drafting, I really would not have minded if they would have gotten Klingon or if they would have gotten Edie, because I think if you put Wemby next to one of those two guys, how the hell are you going to drive inside?
It's a problem. Right?
It's a big problem. And, the thing is, Edie's now considered the front runner for Rookie of the Year. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I heard that too, and that is wild. I could see a world in which he does it because he's going to get significant playing time.
Yeah.
But that aside from the moment, when it comes to Victor Wembanyama and how he's playing, how he looks bigger. He looks
does.
like he's filled out a little bit, and he looks scary.
He's comfortable in his skin now.
Yeah.
He was doing great things at 14, at 15, at 16, but he had one whole season with the Spurs. He's really marinated his game, for lack of a better term, and he looks scary, man. I mean, I can't wait to see him play next year. Now, one thing we did talk about, though, is the sophomore jinx, running into a wall. The biggest thing with Wemby is keep taking care of your body, keep stretching. I hope Pop will continue to manage his minutes, because let's think about it for a second. This fella had a whole season of basketball in France. He had the postseason in France where they made the championship round.
Right.
Then he goes and gets drafted. He goes to Summer League. Then he comes out, plays a full season with the Spurs. Yes, he sat out a couple games here and there. Right back in, and he's into the Olympics. So he's going to need a breather, man. I mean, it's
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
Your body can't take that much.
It can't. So he's going to need a little bit of, especially at the beginning of the season, I think you've got to massage those minutes.
I agree. I think that he's putting himself on a really, I don't want to say dangerous path, but it is the type of path that you saw LeBron take, where he's just going to get worked and worked and worked. But the Spurs have always been one of those franchises that nurses their players. They make sure that they're okay.
They err on the side of caution when it comes to health.
Absolutely. And I think
Sans what the Leonard family says.
right. I mean, that whole drama was, I don't want to get into that.
I know. I'm sorry. And I hate feeling like the jilted spouse that I keep coming back to it. I mean, look, I'm going to mention him one more time, and then I promise. I'm making a promise directly to you, America. I won't talk about KL again. But that lousy bastard, you know what he said?
Yeah.
You know what he said this week? That he just basically showed up for the photo shoot, and because Vegas is kind of a cool scene, and then he goes and packs up his one bag and jets. So they had to get Derek White. Dude, what the hell? Is your head that big? Did you have to check that in as baggage, or did you get that through customs? Come on, man. You need to be better than that, dude. You are idolized by several kids in this country. Why don't you act like you deserve their praise, like you deserve their to be idolized by them? To come off that way, man, that's Bush League. Seriously.
I agree. I think Kawhi has developed this reputation that is largely negative, and he's earned it. And that's actually a really good juxtaposition between someone like Kawhi Leonard, who doesn't seem to want to sacrifice. He's more or less selfish, right?
Yeah.
Compared to Wemby, who's doing everything he can, putting his health at risk for the sake of his country, for the sake of trying to medal.
Yeah.
And that really speaks volumes to the type of player and person that Wemby is.
And that's why I feel that France will overcome all the talent that the U.S. has, that they'll come out and they'll win gold, because it's about love of country. It's about allegiance. It's not about, hey, I want to get my face on the cover of Wheaties or whatever. Like, let's talk about Ant-Man for a little bit. Why don't you tell me what your thoughts are on some of the things he said at the beginning?
He was basically saying that it was his team, that he was the focal point of Team USA, even though you have guys like Steph Curry, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant on the team. And yes, Anthony Edwards is becoming an emerging superstar, but this is not his team.
Well, he's starting to drink the MJ Kool-Aid that they were serving when they played
everyone's like, oh, he's baby MJ,
Dallas.
but he's not.
Well, if he was, they wouldn't have got their ass whipped by Dallas.
I mean, that's fair. But at the same time, when it comes to Anthony Edwards' impact on Team USA, he had 13 points. He led the team in points against Canada. But is that going to be enough for you to say, I am the guy?
Yeah. But then again, like you told me, because you corrected me on it, that was a very low scoring game. Because I was talking about how, SGA only had 10 and it was on 3 of 10 shooting or 3 of 8 shooting. But you're like, yeah, but let's think about it a second. There weren't a lot of points scored on there.
Right. It was 86 to 72, I think.
Yeah. So, pump the brakes a little bit. But Ant-Man needs to act like what pisses me off in sports so much is the over bravado thing that goes on. In high school and in college, I used to hear from people, act like you've been there before. When you get in the end zone, when you make a bucket, when you hit a home run, when you drive in a run, act like you've been there before. Show a little class. And I think that's seriously lacking with some of these guys. Talking about, I'm bigger than the game, I'm the most important guy on the team. Dial it down a little bit, seriously. You're talking about something. Winning a gold medal is about your country being uplifted. And that to me is important. And you don't want to lose sight of that.
Right.
I'm the man. Come on, man. You're a team. You're Team USA.
And that brings me to one more point I had about Wemby. And that point is the reason why the last few years I've been so enamored with this guy is less about the freakishness of his physique and his abilities as a player. It's the type of person he is. And speaking to Ant-Man's character or Kawhi's character, I'm not saying they're bad people, right? I'm not saying
either.
They're bad dudes.
Kawhi, I think his problems, he's let his uncle and other people dictate how he should behave.
Right. And you kind of have to have that ego in order to be the level of athlete that they are.
Yeah.
But Wemby seems to be doing this with such a level head. I mean, going back to last offseason when he was talking about how he grew up a Spurs fan, how he loved the culture, how immediately he felt embraced by San Antonio.
And he emulated it.
He did. And he did what David Robinson and Tim Duncan did, which is he has the humility to put the team on his back without imposing like a Michael Jordan did or like what Anthony Edwards is trying to do with Team USA.
But he does have bravado, and he does have
swagger.
But he does it in a classy way.
He does.
It can be done, but it needs to be done in a classy way.
Exactly.
That's what I love about him, and I think some of that probably trickled down from Tony Parker talking about the Spurs way. Right. And kind of helping to groom him a little bit. He had some good people around him. He had great parenting. Mm-hmm. That's definitely goes without saying. Look at the family. I mean, all of them there draft night. We got to see that.
Did you ever see the podcast he went on with JJ Redick?
No,
where he was talking about being a free being in the universe?
He's smart, dude.
He's so mature.
JJ Redick said, damn, I have never met a candidate to be not just first pick in the draft, but to be a first round pick that was as grounded and just smart and honed in. And you've got to think about this for a second. David Robinson was the first pick in the draft, and that dude played saxophone and all kinds of. He was in the military. You had Timmy, the same thing, just real chill guys. He came from the islands, and he had to go through all that stuff with Hurricane Hugo. Yeah, I think it's just a natural progression from David to Timmy to him.
Right.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful to see that kind of behavior from a human being.
I'm so thrilled that he's a Spur.
He deserves to be. He's absolutely Spurs material.
He is the perfect embodiment of what this franchise is all about.
I agree.
And because of that, I think that I kind of want France the gold medal. You know what I mean?
Because of that. I know, and look, I'm all about the U.S.
Right.
You cut me open, I bleed red, white, and blue.
Right.
But you know what? How tasty of a drama would it be if France wound up winning the gold and the U.S. had to chomp on that for 4 years and get good and pissed off, and then come back in the next one in 2028 and try to yank that gold medal away from a Wemby who will just be scratching his prime. It's going to be fun. It's going to be now. That's the kind of drama in basketball I want to see.
Right.
So yeah, I'm down with that. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Watch France not even medal.
Yeah, right. Watch him go fifth, and then everybody gives us a collective middle finger. Right. Oh man. But I'm just going to say this to all you Lakers fans out there, and some of y'all are my friends. Y'all ain't getting Wemby douchebags. He is a Spur for life. Spur for life, buddy. Get used to it.
And this narrative that they need a winner right now or else he's going to leave. He doesn't strike me as the type of person. He wants to be here and he wants to win with us.
And I think he believes in the front office.
I do. Yeah.
How can you not? 5 rings, guys. 6 visits to the finals. I'm 56. I'm going to be 57 in August. I've told him ad nauseum, I never imagined in my wildest dreams that the Spurs would go to the finals, much less win. It's hard to do that when you're a small market team. Mm-hmm. When you're not like LA or Boston or Miami or New York, where you could just throw a shitload of money at players because you have all this media money that comes in. And you're kind of those cornerstone franchises.
Right.
So they don't have to, overly impress because they've got that body of work. But here's the thing. When you've got a franchise like San Antonio, their reputation precedes them. They're run properly. You can't be run like garbage and compete with the big boys. So that's really the big thing to me is San Antonio's on the landscape and they're there because of how they're run, because they have to be. They have to be run right.
Exactly, because as a small market team, you can't win if you're not perfect.
Yeah.
And the Spurs have been perfect 5 times.
Exactly.
So
yeah, and really 6 if Pop doesn't pull Timmy in the last.
Well, that's why they weren't perfect.
Yeah, because if Timmy's out there, he gets that rebound. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Miami. You would have been 0 for 2 against us.
That's right. On to the next segment.
All right. So now that we've gone through that, there's a lot to digest on this episode. We're going to do our Q&A with Q&A. So Quentin's going to ask me a question. I'm going to ask him a question. You guys know the routine by now. Quinn, go ahead.
Okay, so my question to you is, if you could pair any player that is currently playing basketball for any country without worrying about the contract, like how the contract works, without worrying about age or anything like that, who would you want to pair with Wemby?
Well, it's funny you should ask because I had my own ideas about who I liked, but you and I had a discussion about it. I agree with you. I think Giannis.
Dude. If you could pair
my
Giannis
mouth
and
is
Wemby,
watering
if you could pair
because
Giannis
I'm thinking
and
about
Wemby,
how badass they would be.
Oh my God, that would be crazy.
Yep.
Can you imagine having the Greek freak and the French freak?
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm telling you, that would be unstoppable. That's why I'm still, and I hate going back, and you're going to say, dude, stop going back. That's why I'm telling you, I think Klingon or Edie would have been so enticing, man, because those guys, no, they're not close to Giannis, right? But that size and thinking about what they could do, the 4 and the 5 setting up in the back, how nobody would score on their ass and how Wemby can block threes and all that. Yeah, but I'm with you. I think Giannis, man, that would be incredible. And you know what? Who knows what could happen? He's on another contract right now.
Yeah.
So when it comes up, maybe he decides to UFA, and if he does, maybe we get a shot at him.
That would be sick.
With Wemby in his prime.
God, that would be crazy.
Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more on my question about rest versus playing, right? It's a fine line because obviously the Spurs want to improve more so they can bring in a free agent or two so that they can get some more people that want to come help Wemby, that want to play with Wemby. But again, as mentioned before, Wemby played a whole season in France. Yes, it was less games, but he had the postseason and went all the way to the championship. Then he goes to Summer League and he plays in there. And then he comes over here, plays most of the season. And then what happens? He's now in the Olympics.
Is there a question in there, big guy?
Yeah, the question is, yeah, and I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I need to get smacked sometimes to slow my roll.
It's okay.
What would you do if you're Coach Popovich this season as far as his rest regimen?
That's a great question because there has to be a balance that needs to be struck. Because you can't just coddle him and only play him 20 minutes a game. He's going to get frustrated with that. You also, you can't have that kind of a dominant player and only play him 20 minutes a game. Do you play him 35? No. I think you play him 30 minutes a game. And I think
that's exactly the number I was thinking, was 30 minutes. And then against the, pardon my French, shittier teams, you could play them less because you're going to beat the hell out of them anyway. Maybe those are the teams you get him 20 minutes of play, and you hope that you have a good backup. Right now, that backup at center is Collins.
Right.
But let's, I'm with you. I think 30 minutes is good. Maybe like every 5 games he sits out a game. I don't know. I mean,
right.
What do you think besides 30 minutes, which I think is exactly spot on what I would do?
I think they rest him on back-to-backs. I think that could also help prevent him from getting that wear and tear. I think apart from sort of monitoring his minutes and not playing him on back-to-backs, I think you gotta just roll the dice and let him go. And I know there's always a risk of injury for someone that big, but Wemby is built different. He really is. I know that expression gets used a lot, but he is truly built different.
And the way he takes care of his body and the different exercises
every single day. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do drugs, he doesn't party. He's focused on basketball, and that's what greatness does. And I think he is going to be great. And so you can't. I mean, that's like having a Jaguar and not driving it, right? Or a Porsche or whatever nice car, Maserati,
or the Corvette that I've got the drive.
That you're not driving, right? You can't just let it sit there, right? You got to do something. You got to take it on the road. Yeah. So I think that's a good question that you bring up, but ultimately, I think I trust in Pop, and
I do too.
I believe that they're going to manage him the right way, and of course, they're probably going to get his take, Wemby's take on it, but.
Wemby is the consummate professional. He's going to say, play me the whole game.
Right.
Play me as much as you want. That's what these guys do. That's why so many guys
But I think he's smart enough to see the big picture. He's smart enough to know you can't just risk it all.
Yeah.
Because you got to think about his whole future, right? And if you want to play 15 years, you can't burn out super quickly. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
So
it's true. All right, good segment, good talk.
Very good.
All right, man. Sippin' trivia.
Today we're going to be drinking Marasul chocolate tequila.
It's chocolate tequila. Guys, now,
really good.
I know you might think, like, get the fuck out of here with that, okay? But it's good stuff, man.
Really
That's our second bottle. We had one during the holidays. It's good stuff, man. I'm telling you, go buy it. They have it just about everywhere. It's delicious, I promise you. So that's my plug for them. Hopefully we get them to sponsor us. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so the way it works, you guys should know this by now. He asks 3, I ask 3. Winner gets to chill. The one that misses has to take a sip. So here we go.
Do you want me to start?
You start. Sir.
Okay. So the Spurs historically have had a lot of international players. Who is their first international player?
Zarko Paspai.
Incorrect.
What?
Sven Nader.
Oh, but he
was from the Netherlands.
Yeah, but wasn't he in the U.S. though?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
He's an international player.
I know he is, but he played in the United States.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you didn't tell me, like, who...
that's an excuse. Take a sip. Take a sip. I got you.
That is delicioso. All right. And, guys, I'm going to point out that we're using the 150th anniversary glasses from the Kentucky Derby. Dylan Rossi, Kevin Cox, Brooklyn Cowboy. You guys are on deck, man. We're going to do a show pretty soon talking about horses, talking horse shit. Anyway, let me get back to my train of thought and give you your question, big guy.
Okay.
Greg Popovich. He was a basketball player at Air Force. Tried out for the Olympics. What year was that team that he tried out for?
1968.
Take a big swig, Jackson Brown. 1972.
I was going to say 72, but that's, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, whatever.
Your time.
All right. So this is a multiple choice question.
Okay.
How many international players have we ever had? A, 65. B, 59. C, 54. Or D, 39.
54. C.
Wrong.
59.
We've had 59
I knew it was
players.
going to be one of those two. See, let me tell you a little something about my son. He's a professor, right? Anytime you take a test, if two of those answers are similar, it's going to be one or the other. Because I had no friggin' idea, but I knew it was going to be the 50. So cheers to you. Cheers to you, Mrs. Robinson.
Jesus Christ.
All right. Now, here's the next one. Oh,
You can ask me who went to high school where?
No, I
Keep
promise
asking
it
me these
won't.
high school questions.
All-time Olympic scorers for Team USA. Who's ranked number 3 all time?
David Robinson.
Cue it. LeBron James.
Really?
Yes.
I thought he was higher.
No.
That is delicious.
All right.
Last question. In 2004, Manu Ginobili took Team Argentina to the finals and won the gold.
Yes.
How many points did he score?
26.
Incorrect. 29. You were close, though.
The number, okay, look, the number went like this. Oh, shit. Like Minority Report. You remember how the number was down that way? That's what happened. She's merciless, folks.
Anyway.
Yeah, I got one more for you, Jackson Brown.
Okay.
Okay. On that all-time list, who's number 4?
Tim Duncan.
No, all-time list, Team USA.
Yeah. Is it Tim Duncan?
No, Jackass.
Michael Jordan?
Yes.
Oh.
No.
Stupid.
Yeah. So drink it. You know who's number 5? Just you got your ass handed to you. Also, we both sucked.
Who's
ass.
number 1?
We both sucked ass in this trivia question stuff. Number 5 was David Robinson. Surprisingly,
Really?
Number 1. Tell me who you think it is.
It's not Magic.
No, it's of the newer guys.
Oh, Anthony.
He's second.
Is it D Wade? Kobe?
He looks like the first coming of Slenderman. Kevin Durant.
Really? Interesting.
With 435 points.
Okay.
The second guy is Carmelo at 336.
Then LeBron.
Bronny has 273.
Okay.
So,
Fair
yeah,
enough.
we both sucked. So, we're going to knock all this out.
That's right. God.
All right, guys. That's been episode 5, the Olympvics. Again, I think you should tell everybody how much you appreciate it.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart. No, I really we really both appreciate you guys watching, taking the time. So until next time, I'm Quentin.
And I'm Alex.
And thank you for watching.
Watching.